You're our number 9, baby. Let's talk about the number 9s. Let's get into the number 9s.
I love it. I love that Haji Wright is getting called in because I think just from watching him that his skill set looks different and his skill set looks like something that we haven't had. I think a little bit more pace and quickness than Ricardo Pepi, but the size is there and a threat. He's a threat on the wings coming inside. He can assist. He can create goals. So I think this is probably more closer to your Ricardo Pepi type profile, that you have someone else who can do it in a different way. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Hopefully, because I think it always is going to come down to technique and tactics. If it's there for Greg Berhalter, he will be the guy, I think, for this camp.
All right, talk to me then about Ricardo Pepi, because he's a young player.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in this situation. We've all been in this situation before where you get called in, you can tell you're being trusted by the coaching staff, and then all of a sudden, they're like, you know what? Why don't you sit out this one?
But hey,
we're fine. We're fine.
By the way,
this one.
Charlie, I mean, put it into context. I was talking to Jimmy about this. I mean, it took you a while to get going in the national team, right?
So you
felt yourself, and then all of a sudden there was this. And Jimmy and I were talking about, you could see flashes, and you're waiting for this moment, and then you arrived, and then you went into this run of form. I mean, talk about sort of the mentality of just the striker and all of that with context of your own story and the time it took you to find that rhythm in the national team.
I went to Sweden. It took me 6 months in Stockholm to get used to the way of training, because in MLS, we know you don't have to train like it's a World Cup every day. And it doesn't dictate who plays on the weekend you're training. Where in Europe, it does. You have a couple poor trainings, you're not starting on the weekend. It's that serious. So I think for Ricardo Pepi, and hearing some of the ways he was training, sometimes not at his best, or he's a game time player and not a practice time player, that's the transition you have to make every day, playing like it's a World Cup final. It could be from like small-sided to 11v11 to finishing drills. You have to perform at your best, and you have to do it better than the rest if you want to be playing every weekend. That takes a while. He didn't have that time to transition into that. And not only that, you're competing with the rest of Bundesliga. You're trying to stay up. So the emphasis and the pressure is that much more outside of just playing on your group in your team. You throw in a U.S. men's national team and World Cup qualifying. There's a lot of different things that are distracting, that you're trying to focus. You're not in a rhythm. You're not playing with your club. So I think for Ricardo Pepi, it's a lot.
So what? How does he feel then? If it's kind of like I don't say his comfort zone, but he could always go back to the national team and maybe re-find his confidence. He was around a coaching staff and players that believed in him, and he might not be finding that at Augsburg. Now that's being taken away from him, whether he needs the break or not. And obviously the coaching staff made that evaluation, but we've all been in that spot before. That's hard, because even though you understand where it's coming from, you almost are thirsting for it, because that's where you want to be. Those are your real friends. Those are the people that you've gone through the trenches with. You haven't done that yet with your current club. So if that had happened to you in Sweden, and all of a sudden Bob Bradley, whoever the coach, was like, "Hey, why don't you just stay in Sweden, Charlie? We're good. We don't need you."
Well, I had that happen to me.
Okay, so how do you handle that? Because by the way, a misery compiler.
You have to. The only way you can go through it is by producing at your club. That's the only way you get through it. You can't control who calls you up and when they call you up. What you can control is your playing time at your club.
I get it.
And for Ricardo Pepi, they invested $20 million on him. This isn't something they can eat and live with. They have to figure out a solution. So the first solution is figuring a way to get him on the pitch and to get him scoring goals.
Yeah,
he can control his performances.
Of course, his attitude.
Also,
right?
He played one season. He only played one season at FC Dallas, and he didn't start the first games behind Franco Jara, and so it was like this run of form that you can overlook, like how he trains, his attitude, professionalism, because he's a kid still, right? Someone's got to be able to shape him at this point.
And you have to also take into consideration the teammates. They have to know your strengths and your tendencies. You have to know their tendencies. That takes a long time to get on the same page. A preseason, he didn't get one. So I think Greg Berhalter says, okay, stay at home, use this as a mental break. It's also, you didn't deserve to get called up because you haven't played. So for Ricardo Pepi, it's going into preseason, The club saying, okay, we're going to play you from the start. You're going to have a full preseason. You have to impress with your opportunity. We're going to give you that chance. And then he has to take it. Once he gets going and he's playing like he was at the end of the his Major League Soccer career to get this move and with the national team, then he's going to vault from in the shadows already back up to the number one option. That's how it works. And if he is in form and he's scoring goals in the Bundesliga, he's going to be your starting striker come the World Cup, and no one's going to ask any questions. There's not going to be any talk of who's our 9 if he's banging, if he has 10 to 15 goals come the World Cup already in the Bundesliga. So that's how you settle it, is just getting confidence from your club performance, from your club form. And then it's all said and done.
Hey, Charlie, let me ask you this, because we're on this topic of strikers. Should a striker be able to score at any club, any style of play? I mean, does that have anything to do with, like you said, playing to strengths? But he's jumped into this. Like,
I would tell you, if it's me and I'm the striker in the shoes, you can score in any style of play for any type of club. You figure out a way to be successful. And as a striker,
even the New England Revolution, Jimmy.
Even as a striker, your job is to score goals. So you figure out a way. And if you're a striker who likes to just get in behind and not so much checking deep, and a team is just sitting deep, then you have to figure out a way to score goals, coming in and combining and taking shots outside the box so that the defenders then leave their space and come to confront you. And now you've created that space in behind. It's just figuring out different ways throughout a game to make an impact. So I think for Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira is doing it right now. He's showing, hey, people tell me I can only check and I can only come into the midfield and I have to create space for everybody else and not for myself. Well, now he's saying, hey, I'll get in behind. Let me show you what I can do in MLS. That's only going to make him a better player. And I think a lot of people didn't see that from him before. Now they do.
That $20 million price tag is what's hurting him. We've all been in this situation where we've been on a team and the coach goes, hey, we got this new guy coming in. I remember being in Kansas City. I'll leave the player's name out of this. But the coaching staff told us, oh, he had Alan Shearer in his back pocket during the Europa League qualifier or something. And we were like, oh, well, this guy must be pretty good. Dude, the guy could barely turn and run. And they were hyping this dude up. And not to say that Ricardo Pepi is anywhere near this. I mean, this guy was in his late 20s, early 30s. And I don't even know why we signed him. And it didn't work out, obviously. But if you come in with that type of hype, and everybody's going to, all the older guys, everybody's going to be, all right, who's this kid? Let's see what he's got. And and from what I understand, and I think Heath, you said this before, Ricardo Pepi doesn't train well. That's not going to lend itself to winning over anybody on your team. And they're going to be like, yeah, this guy isn't the guy. I don't know why we paid this much money for him. And now you get this stigma attached to you. And it's hard to break that. That first impression is really important. If you didn't have a good first impression, especially for a coach that Michael Parkhurst came on the show and said that who he played for at Augsburg, saying, yeah, this guy's pretty tough. I don't know if that was the best coach for Ricardo Pepi and helping develop a young player.
He's
that
gone
can
now.
Be tough. He is gone. That, which I think is a good thing. Which I think is a really good thing. All right, we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about Ricardo Pepi and the situation moving forward. I just want to get into the Christian Pulisic gossip because we're so gossipy here. Heath, I'm gonna come to you. Apparently, Christian Pulisic took off Chelsea on his Instagram bio. Do you think his dad took his phone? You texted that to me earlier today. I mean, you know, it's pretty interesting that he maybe is starting to make moves. Now, he hasn't taken down his photos. He didn't delete the photos yet. But do you think this is a sign? Do you think he's just playing kind of the game that has to be played to these guys we get American owners coming in. They're not going to want to let Christian Pulisic go. No chance.
Yeah. No, I look, when you're in a position that he's in, and I don't know what it's like to be Christian Pulisic, but I do know what it's like to be in situations that you feel vulnerable or not in control. Sometimes you want to do something that makes you feel in control. Sometimes you want to do something that allows you to subliminally speak. Now, usually it causes more harm than good because
look
now
at Dr. Heath Pearce here with the psychology.
We're talking about it now, which is obviously more harm than good for him, and it's going to cause a lot of drama in his life. But occasionally, you just look for those little things that allow you to feel in control, that allow you to feel like that, like there's this abuse of power towards you, and you don't have anything. You want to be able to like sort of make a statement of some kind, and I think they've done that again. Christian Pulisic, I could have done that during my career. No one would have paid any attention. Actually, that's not true because Yanks Abroad existed then and people were like, you know, the website, everybody was like looking for little tiny things. But he can't do anything because he is a global superstar and it's going to be scrutinized and looked under. And he knows that. And so this is some sort of tactical game. Or it could be as simple as Christian Pulisic wanted a mental health break. And so he needed to just remove the distractions around him and take things off. But I don't think that was the case necessarily, because you wouldn't need to. You could just go offline. You don't have to.
I mean, it's clearly on purpose. Excuse me, Charlie, because not only did he take Chelsea out of the bio, he also changed his profile pic from a Chelsea one to him wearing his hat backwards, doing a little juggling out in the park by himself.
He's not happy with his playing time and the way he's been used. He knows he should be playing. We've seen it when he's at his best. For me, he's the best Chelsea attacking player that has his qualities in his position. So,
Charlie, hey, wait. Charlie, does Christian Pulisic follow you on Instagram?
I don't know.
I just want to know how unbiased this bit is right now. You know, I don't want that. I don't want, for those watching, he follows 382 people. I don't want it to go to 381. You know,
stop it. You know, I don't play those games. I keep it real. So I think for me, he needs to go to another place, because some certain coaches, we can make you, can break you. Keep you in a certain pot within that group. Says, hey, this is what I can get from him. Maybe I can use him to motivate. I know how to motivate him. If there's someone on this squad that I can take advantage of my relationship with and put them on the bench and put the blame on them and know that they won't give in. Those are some of the things that you deal with as a player. I think it would be beneficial for him to go to another club where he's going to get more playing time and be the guy and see how that works.
You know what, everybody? I've got just the club for him. Now, hear me out. It's an American manager. You got Brendan Aronson coming in. Leeds United is the club that Christian Pulisic should go to. Tyler Adams is going to go as well.